So let's see if I can do this and talk about this topic openly and in a way that's not reflecting on the energies that are coming through at this time in regards to the Aquarian age, the beginning of the Aquarian age, because the Aquarian age, from what I'm researching and understanding, has two facets to it. One that's expansive and collectively community orientated, and another that is more top-down heavy and can take us into a technocratic, dystopic nightmare reality. Now, both those paradigms are on offer. And there are a lot of people who I would consider to be New Age that are still stuck in that New Age mentality that naively continue to, in my perception anyway, continue to adhere to the idea of this wonderful transformation of society in a way that's positive and very illuminating, enlightening, and moving into a very quick, shall we say, ascension process. Now, I feel as though personally, due to my own research and what I understand and what I'm seeing around me, that naivety is a folly, a foible, because due to the nature of natural law, which is what we are governed by in this dimension, in this 3D reality, we're governed by natural law, and natural law is the modus operandi of the control system. They will tell you, and they have told us for the last 3 years more blatantly than ever, exactly where they are going with their agenda, exactly what is on offer. And the populace of the planet has basically, through silent acquiescence, adhered to that timeline and that agenda pretty much for the last 3 years. There has been pushback. I see that. I understand that. There has been pushback. But during the Aquarian age, the use of technology for more top-down control is one of the tenets of the control system, and they are quickly bringing into society, into the culture of the world, the top-down heavy control system as fast as they possibly can. Not because they feel as though their race is lost, but they know that everything is on an offer. And the more distracted people are, the more confused people are, the more divisiveness there is in society, the easier it is to control the masses, divide and rule. That's pretty easy. Order through chaos. That's pretty easy. And our society today is so propagandized across the entire planet. And those people and there are countless people in regards to the population on this planet who adhere to the mainstream everything, will parrot through the use of words, through the use of feelings, and drop into a space where they will allow that dystopic nightmare world to take hold and begin to manifest on the timeline due to this silent acquiescence to that timeline. As most people just want to get on with their lives. Let's be honest. Most people just want to get on with their lives, and they will do whatever it is to make their lives easier. They will go ahead and do it. An example of that is this country I'm in now, Te Moana Nui a Kiwa, or the island I'm living on, Te Ika a Maui. FPOS was brought here onto this country first, apparently in the world, as a petri dish. And this country is a petri dish for the rest of the world in many ways, due to the population, and the powers that be can bring certain modalities, technological modalities especially, or other modalities into this country and utilize it in a way that they can make it into a petri dish. And bringing FPOS here brings a lot of convenience for people and removes cash from society, the cash flow from society of paper money. And by doing that, you're creating a stalking horse towards a cashless society. Now, if you have a cashless society, which is an Aquarian dark side of the system, a dark side of the coin of the Aquarian age. Through technology, you've got massive top-down control in a way that you cannot even imagine. If you can imagine a Chinese-style Chinese Communist Party world where everyone is bitched up to a social credit system with a cashless society, where the cash you have in your account, not even cash, it's just currency really, in your account is tied to a time frame where you have to spend that money in a certain time frame, so you cannot save anymore, and at some point, say you misbehave and your credit goes down to zero and you can't access any cash anymore, you're fucked. You can't buy anything. You can't be a part of society. Now that could be a benefit to some people who have the ability to create a new society and build a new community, but we are so fucking far away from that. And people who tell you that, who parrot this idea that we're moving into this golden age where all these technologies and scientific developments will be coming forward for the benefit of humankind, don't say this as well. A lot of those discoveries and scientific developments, if they come out of governments and corporations who have ties to the powers that be in a top-down structure, none of those technologies, not one of them, is going to be of benefit to anyone other than themselves. That's how you control society, through these technology, a technocratic, dystopic, transhumanist fucking nightmare. And the idea of implantables, the idea of creating a situation where you have convenience through the use of implantables into people's body. Look at Sweden, you can pay for your train ticket with the swipe of your hand if you've got a chip in your hand. You know, this is the whole idea. They're taking it into that place, and through silent acquiescence and through the use of the convenience of it, which most people will adhere to en masse. Even though there's an awakening happening, I know this, and I've seen it, I understand it. In my own country of birth, no. The awakening is small, minute in fact. In my perception, unless there's the avalanche of awakening in a way that really shows how the powers that be show their cards, and this is part and parcel of it as well in the Aquarian age, the powers that be have broken the surface of the ocean of where they used to hide covertly what they were doing. It had to become overt, as David Icke said many, many, many decades ago. Eventually, the control system has to become overt. And the more overt it becomes, the more it gives people the chance to wake up to see what's really going on and what is the MO of the control system. Now, having said that, a year ago, people in their billions lined up to get an experimental medical procedure that altered their DNA. Go figure. And what else was in that experimental process, medical process? What else was in those particular medical injections? There's lots of speculation about implantables. You know, and this is part of the Aquarian dark, the darkness of the Aquarian age. This is the dark side of the Aquarian age. You know, the whole idea that as a community we're all going to move into this wonderful enlightened society is complete fucking baloney in my perception. It's not the case at all. A lot of souls are going to bow out in the next 5 to 10 years. A lot. Because they are not resonating on that frequency band that is coming in. I'm not talking about the Aquarian age. I'm talking about cosmic energy coming in and uplifting some of us who have chosen to live a very different life, who have chosen to take full responsibility for our lives, who have chosen to adhere to that energy, and have chosen to feel the strong pull of spirit to find community. And there are communities popping up all over the world. I totally see that, in the sense that there are people finding each other energetically and through resonance, and the need for resonance in regards to as Pam Gregory says, the micro decisions around love and fear every day, making a decision based upon love rather than fear, will move us into that energy frame. We will find each other and move forward from there in a way that's constructive towards a more illuminating and a more community inclusive and a community-based society. I totally see that happening on some level, but the powers that be still have a vision of a transhumanist, dystopic, nightmare reality with a heavily reduced population. It's still there, and that's part of the Aquarian age. The dark side of the Aquarian age, in my perception, is just that. Constructing and creating and having the acquiescence of the populace that's left behind after the medical procedure has done its thing and is eventually taken out maybe half the population. Rounding up all the survivors and putting them into situations where they're in smart cities, creating this dystopic World Economic Forum global nightmare, global China. That is the idea, that is the MO, and that is where they want to take us into that world. And that's also part of the dark side of the Aquarian age. But a lot of people who are naively looking at the situation saying, we're going to create this wonderful blah, 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 through use of technology. Technology is neutral. It's how you choose to implement it. But some of the technologies that would be brought out by government and corporations will be enabling the system to move more towards transhumanism globally. And that is the dark side of the Aquarian age. A move into a cashless society, and we are enabling it, not me personally, but the people that are enabling that cashless society to come about en masse globally are doing it every day. You go to a country like Mexico or some third world country, countries that are not Western countries, third world countries. The use of cash daily is simply that. They use cash, they don't use FPOS, they don't use credit cards, they use cash. Cash is king. The Western world, okay, maybe not so much anymore. And where I live in my country, everyone uses plastic, pretty much. 95% of the population uses plastic. Whether it be MasterCard, Visa cards, credit cards, or FPOS cards. You know, I still use cash every day for almost all my purchases, as much as possible, unless I'm buying something online. I use cash, because cash is king. And if I move from my country of birth to another country, I'll be moving somewhere where I use cash every day as well. Every day. That's the way, at some level, through that natural law, the use of cash, which is them. Think about this though. You use cash, it still belongs to the control system. And as Jesus said to the priests in the temple about money, about currency, he said, let Caesar's be Caesar's, cash, and let God's be God's, spirit. And my interpretation of that maxim. And so we are using Caesar's monetary system, his fiat currency. I say Caesar in regards to Rome, their fiat currency. But if we use cash, it gives us a sense of anonymity. It gives us a sense of privacy when we choose to spend our money. It gives us a sense of freedom we don't have with a cashless society. And that freedom we will lose in that dystopic Aquarian age nightmare world that potentially could manifest if people around the world choose to acquiesce to the offers that have been given to them. And a lot of this stuff in regards to moving forward will be dressed up as being convenience and superpowers from implants into the body. Superpowers. You know, you look at the climate change agenda as well, what they want to create there with this idea of smart cities where you can't leave the cities. You know, this seems absolutely ridiculous. You know, you can't travel any more than 5 kilometers away because of the nature of your carbon use and driverless cars. All this stuff is absolutely bonkers. When I think about it, it's just not going to happen unless the acquiescence takes place on this and continues to do so. And that is the dark side of this Aquarian energy. The acquiescence, the natural law, the offer is always there for us to say no thank you. But unless people en masse begin to say no thank you as it gets darker and darker, and as the energy that is brought about by the attention given to the system every day is utilized for the benefit of the system, and as the introduction of new scientific technologies is brought into society that supposedly are for the benefit of humanity, and they're anything but a stalking horse towards more control, unless those have been halted and told no thank you en masse, well, those of us who don't want to be a part of that will be finding each other and creating community and creating a whole new paradigm of society that will not bring us into that matrices of control. And I see that coming. And in 2020, I had a vision during the lockdown here in my country where I was going deeply into my practice of shamanic dreaming. And in one of my dreams, I had this very clear vision that in the future, there would be a splintering of people into tribes, communities, bigger communities and smaller government, a government that hardly even exists at all, if at anything, to only build infrastructure and schools and hospitals. And that was it. No taxes, no collections of taxes, because tax, after all, is unlawful. The creation of money, they can do that anyway for free. But anyway, what I was saying, the creation of community and a smaller government. And I do see that as a part of Aquarian age energy. On the positive side, the creation of community, the creation of tribes, of people coming together with the same ideals moving forward. And that's a positive thing. And that will, I feel, and has happened in the last 3 years and will happen and will continue to happen. And we have to have that ability to hold that light within us to move forward by taking personal responsibility for our lives and no longer being parented. Finding each other, creating open source, free technological advancements that benefit not only the planet, the environment and community, but the cosmos, celestial energies. We've all got to take personal responsibility for ourselves. No one's going to save us, not one person, especially not governments or corporations that want to enslave us through a dystopic, transhumanist nightmare. This age can come about through the Aquarian age if we do not understand en masse that the offers being given to us by corporations and governments are there on the dark side of the Aquarian age and utilizing this energy for that purpose to move into a more top-down, centralized control over a heavily reduced populace. It's happening. It's happening now, and we have to acknowledge that, in my perspective. We have to acknowledge its presence in our lives. Only then, by shining a light upon it, and not being naive to look at the light, forgetting the casting shadows, only then can we truly move forward. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Mā te wā. I'll see you again soon.